This one I'm excited for. The Rams head to Chicago this weekend for the divisional round. Let's get into it and preview this game. Jeff Lloyd, fourth quarter Caleb has done it again. The Bears continue to be one of the best second half teams in the NFL. They were down 21-3 at the half versus the Packers. And it feels like no matter what, you simply cannot count them out.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that score, Saturday night, and, I'm sure I was not the only one that said, "You know what? There could be a chance here." Nah, man, just from what they've done in the fourth quarter, and that's been their MO this year.
Yep.
And even though it looked insurmountable, and then even still, when Matthew Golden finally achieved his first touchdown of the season, it was like, I don't know, man. I'm just not feeling this for Green Bay. And you think about what Jordan Love did for most of that game, and then you think the fact that he still ended up on the wrong side of it. Bears definitely have some magic going, and you definitely have
Yep.
some juice going to them. And I think there's one advantage, and we'll get to that here in a little bit, that I think they have in this game that they really, really got to focus on. That's been crucial to them in some of these games this season, and certainly some of these games this season where they've been dealing with the elements.
Let's move right into that because I suspect I know what that advantage might be. How much of a factor is weather going to be here? Stafford obviously doesn't have the best track record in the cold. Also injured his finger, and it feels like that's a situation where you don't want to play a cold weather game right after that. This feels like a bigger home field advantage than usual.
Yeah, I mean, look, where the Rams travel to, and oh, they were on the road last week. Well, winter in Carolina and winter in Chicago, Illinois are
Those
quite
are different things.
differently 2 different things, of course. And, I believe, they say the temperature should be, somewhere around 10 degrees when the day starts. The high will be about 17, keeping in mind that this game is being played at 6:30 PM Eastern. That
Yeah.
will not be the high temperature point of the day by any means whatsoever. So this game will be played in the mid-teens, calling for, wind chill factor to have it anywhere from about 3 degrees to below 0. It's just not the best recipe for certainly a team from Los Angeles, California,
Hmm.
certainly a team with an elderly quarterback like Matthew Stafford. If I'm
Elderly.
Chicago, good. No, I mean, this is one of those ones that everybody, "Oh, I was so much to go to this game." No, no, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. You have so many clothes on. God forbid you have to go to the bathroom. It takes a half an hour, for God's sakes. But if I'm Chicago, the advantage is here. Look, you have a really nice running back duo.
Yeah.
And these guys have really performed for you in key situations this year in games where maybe you didn't think you were going to get the W, or certainly games where you needed the W. And this running back group has paid off for them for this year. I mean, yes, Caleb, the 2 interceptions, and that's even the thing. Like, I see people nitpicking over the interceptions on Saturday night. And look, neither one of them were necessarily great throws or smart plays. Kid put up how many points in the fourth quarter?
Right.
How many? Like, it's like, man, you are all missing the point here if that is what you were going to focus on, or you just truly dislike Caleb Williams, is
That
probably more
has
of
to
the
be
case
a
than
high
anything.
risk, high reward situation. When you're down by that many, you have to be making throws like that.
There's no question, there is. And, look, are there certain points of Caleb Williams' game where you would just like to, "Oh, man, if I could just get a little bit of Drake May style in it, Caleb Williams, that'd be," but that's what makes the uniqueness. That's what makes for the greatness. Little
Hmm.
time, the more he plays, the more those things come into. But the last thing you ever wanna do is to take some of that Josh Allen out of Caleb Williams.
Right.
You don't wanna neuter a player, "Oh, 'cause this is specifically how I like to see the position played." No, if you want greatness, the easy stuff will come with it with the more he plays. Um, you know, and you keep in mind, Saturday night, you had more of his wide receiving core than he had previously the last time he had played Green Bay.
Yeah.
And as much as people were trying to find an offensive rookie to talk about this year, I don't know why we waited 4 months to finally to start talking about Colston Loveland. Because, I mean,
Good point.
I think the thing with Colston Loveland is he's a tight end, but a lot of these routes I see are very wide receiverish. I mean, I don't
Mm.
see, the deep curl, but a deep curl where he's opening up to the sideline, not to the field. I mean, Colston Loveland does some really special things as a player. And, when the Chargers took him, I think a lot of people were, Well, okay, well, you got a tight end, but you didn't get Warren. And, I think this conversation is probably going to be over pretty quickly within the NFL that Loveland's probably just going to be a better player.
Mm.
Younger, didn't have as much experience, better athlete. And I think for Colston Loveland, it's all coming together, probably a little quicker than anybody anticipated. And you have to remember, Colston Loveland, this time of year, he should love. I mean, this is the type of weather, he's familiar with, he is
Mm.
used to. So if there's one guy that says, "Oh, yeah, I'm all right with this. This isn't bad." Colston Loveland's not joking about it. He's dead serious about it.
This one is just so, so interesting to me. I can see it going so many different ways. When I look at the Rams, I feel like they're the better team, the more complete team on both sides of the ball. But then you said it, like the Bears have that kind of magic where they could just never be ruled out. One thing that stands out too, the Bears, they can generate turnovers. They've forced a league high
100%.
33 in the regular season. Do you think, especially in a game like this, do you think that's going to be a big part of the storyline?
I think this is one, if I'm Chicago, you have to push.
I
And it
agree.
might not be more like it might be more of the, the old Peanut Tillman days and, bringing back the because no, but like guys on the West Coast, look, it's cold. You might be wearing more clothing. Some guys might wear a thicker glove than they normally wear. All things that could add up to, how much control and physical control you actually have of the ball. Where, look, Chicago's been playing in this weather now for 3 to 4 weeks, if
Yeah.
not longer. I mean, it gets cold there quickly and it stays there cold for a very, very long time. So it's not like, oh no, it's only going to be 2 degrees. Well, it's been that way for a month now in Chicago, Illinois. So it aids to better. I think it might be more of a hey, stripping the ball. Saying,
Mm.
hey, I don't care if you get your body on Stafford. I want you to go after his arm. I want you to go after his hand.
Yep.
That is more of what I am worried about. Get the ball loose somehow, some way. These guys are not going to be as resilient for the football from the Rams as the Bears will. It's just, natural. And I think for me, one thing that I keep looking back at this, and I think is going to be one of the biggest keys, ultimate, however this game goes, the Bears offensive line has done a really solid job this year. But, I have a pretty good affinity for this Rams defensive line. I love the way they built it. They took older guys in spots where teams were probably had already passed on them because of their age at the time within the draft. And, I kind of call it the defensive line of like misfit toys. And it wasn't that there was a problem with their ability, but there's a certain, and it's changing now, of course, to NIL and all that stuff within the draft. But coming into the draft at almost 24 years old, it was a lot of times in the last few years a death sentence. The Rams just said, "Screw it, we'll take every one of these guys that nobody wants, and these will be our guys." But the one thing is they're a little bit undersized as far as their
Mm.
size of the defensive line, and this Bears offensive front is a bunch of grown, big men, and usually, those type of guys don't lose in this situation. But I think for me, that is probably the biggest question about how this game is going to go is going to be the
Mm.
Rams defensive line versus the Bears offensive line.
Ooh, I do agree with you there. How much, like because we know they're always able to come back and they'll always be able to stay in it. How much urgency is there heading into this one to start faster? So you don't always have to be doing that.
This is where for me, obviously, look, that is the goal. Nobody's going to say, no, no, we don't want to start fast.
Yeah.
But the thing with that, though, is, if that has not have been your style the entire year, or do you just say, "Look, we're going 60 minutes. We are
Mm.
going all gas, no break for the entire time." Because and I honestly agree with you. Like, for like, and that's what, a lot of people who aren't big followers of football probably take away from that fourth quarter, obviously for the Bears against the Packers is, well, what did it take them 45 minutes to get going for? You know,
Why'd you have 3 points at the half?
100%. Well, what it took it so long? A, it doesn't matter. But yeah,
Hmm.
if you want to start playing at maybe a little bit of a quicker speed, do you think it maybe aids the fact, when you're talking about you have a young quarterback, one of your running backs is a rookie, your wide receiver
Mm.
is a second year player, one of your other wide receivers is a rookie. These guys come from college. College, they want to run 75, they want to run 80, they want to 85 plays
Yeah.
a game. So they are somewhat accustomed to playing at this high speed. So it might be something that is worth getting into and certainly debating whether or not you're the Chicago Bears. But, then again, you are playing an extremely, extremely well prepared and certainly, well regarded and long experienced quarterback in Matthew Stafford. And,
Hmm.
you might want to cover that Puka guy.
And there are two coaches in this one that I touched on in another video that I think this could just be a chess matchup. I'm very excited for the Sean McVay, Ben Johnson matchup here. I think we're going to see some really fun plays. Who do you have winning? What is your score prediction?
I mean, if you told me this game was in neutral site, you told me this game was in Los Angeles, I think I'd maybe feel somewhat better about the Rams. I just, I think
The weather changes everything for me.
that the weather changes everything. The confidence level for the
Mm-hmm.
Bears changes everything. The fandom for the Bears have been waiting so long to be back to this type of relevance. I just feel it's a really difficult draw for the Rams. And look,
Mm.
you can't control it. This is the way it is. And again, I mean, just obviously, kudos to the NFC West. There's 4 teams remaining in the NFC. 3 of them are out of one division. So
Yep.
for all those teams battled through this year, it was proven that they were the best division and certainly were 3 of the 4 best teams within that NFC. I just think that the Bears kind of have a little bit of run going for them right now.
Mm.
If you want to call it similar to New England, similar to Denver, and yes, there might be linking factors why all 3 of those teams would be mentioned in the same breath. But, I think I really like where this Bears team is at, and I think they really, really are comfortable within their own skin. And you don't want to say, "Oh, well, if they're down 11 in the 4th," you don't want to be in that situation. But I think that does so much more for their faith within themselves, their
Mm.
belief in what they can do. And the other thing, what does it do? It leads to listen to what your coaches are saying. It is proven. There is no if you're a Bears player, there was nothing you would question on anything your coaching staff told you to do right now, because in the most important parts of any game, the most important parts of the season, they followed what they were told to do, and it led to be successful. It feels really weird to say it, but the Chicago Bears are probably going to the NFC Championship game.